Did I tell you the time the Goblin became invisible? He did. It was late afternoon, and the soldier, ballerina, China doll, and Goblin had been practicing for hours. That's when it happened. The first goofy thought walked right into his head.
What would happen if I did a duck walk?
The ballerina counted them back in.
And 5, 6, 7, 8.
Then a second goofy thought walked right in and sat right down in his head.
What if I stood on my head? Hilarious!
She wasn't laughing at all. Sourpuss. Now the goofies in his head had been joined by the gigglies. By now, his head was so crowded with goofies and gigglies that when a grungy thought stomped in, he didn't even notice.
Now a lift turn? Oh, I'll show them a lift turn. That's the funniest thing I've ever done! It wasn't me! It was the invisible goofies, gigglies, and grungies in my head that made me do it. I couldn't help it, honest. Hey!
They'd come back. They needed him for their dance for 4.
See? They're back.
That's when it happened. The Goblin became invisible.
Hey! They're just trying to ignore me.
Then the thought hit him. Maybe they weren't just ignoring him. Maybe he had become invisible.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Invisible? Could be fun. He could do whatever he wanted.
No one can see me.
Being invisible was the greatest, goofiest, giggliest thing that had ever happened to him. But it was hard work, this being invisible. It was starting to feel spooky. Nothing. Nothing. What if nobody ever saw him again? So this was invisible. He didn't like it at all. He was all alone, except the awful, grungy goofies giggling in his head. He'd shake those goofy, giggling grungies right out. He'd throw himself down. They'd have to see him.
Please, see me! I'm so sorry.
Dear Goblin, where have you been?
I was invisible, but I'm back.
This time the goblin was careful not to mess up the dance. Another Goofy knocked at the door of his mind.
You could do a silly here. Go away, Goofy. I'm busy.
He was dancing so well that the ballerina gave him his own solo. They watched his every move. The goblin danced like he had never danced before. That was the last time the goblin was ever invisible. And he never did know if it was a trick the others played on him, or if he really was invisible. What do you think? Did you ever meet Cricklecrack Thoozelah at the toy castle? Well, nobody had. See, he was the sailor's imaginary friend. The sailor had never told anyone he had an imaginary friend. It was his secret. The clown could see the sailor was talking to someone. But there was no one there.
The sailor has an imaginary friend. I'll have fun with this.
The sailor didn't want anyone making fun of him, or Cricklecrack Thoozelah for that matter. The clown was doing everything he could to get the sailor to admit he had an imaginary friend. Then he could really make fun of him. He was sitting right on Cricklecrack, but the sailor was too embarrassed to tell him. He was eating Cricklecrack sausages, but the sailor was too embarrassed to tell him. He was drinking Cricklecrack's juice, but the sailor was too embarrassed to tell him. The sailor felt just terrible. Poor Cricklecrack Thoozelah. He'd been squashed flat as a pancake. The clown told him he knew the sailor's secret. He had an imaginary friend. The clown thought the China doll would get a good laugh out of the secret, too. But the China doll knew that a friend of the heart didn't have to be seen to be real. The sailor was telling Cricklecrack that maybe they shouldn't tell each other stories anymore. Maybe they shouldn't be together anymore. Maybe it would just be better if Cricklecrack went away.
meet you, mister.
Oh, that'd be my friend, Cricklecrack Thoozelah.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Thoozelah. Any friend of the sailors is a friend of mine. Me, I'd love to dance with you, sir.
The sailor tried to warn her that Cricklecrack Thoozelah had a peg leg, but the china doll ignored him.
Oh, I'll get another. Oh, did I tell you the time Cricklecrack here saved me life? Our ship was a-tossin' on the stormy seas when a wave knocked us right into the water. Down I sank. I started back for the top when right in front of me was a shark. His jaws wide open, ready to swallow me whole. That's when Cricklecrack Thoozelah swam right in and pushed me out of the way. Oh, but the shark got his leg. That's why he wears a wooden leg to this very day.
Oh!
The china doll had never heard of such a brave friend, and neither had the clown.
Oh!
Hey, what you want now? To make fun of us again?
The clown was sorry he'd been so mean. He'd never had a friend like Cricklecrack Thoozelah. Could he please hear more?
Oh, aye.
After that day, Cricklecrack Thoozelah was always a welcome friend at the toy castle. And it didn't even matter that he was invisible.
Subscribe to the Toy Castle and make sure to click on the notification bell to find out first when new videos are posted.